The alien who laughed loudest at Captain Jonah Vale had 4 tusks, 3 medals, and no idea he was laughing at the only person in the arena who understood violence. The tournament of Ascendant Blades glittered beneath a crystal dome. Champions from 100 species raised weapons that burned, screamed, or bent gravity, and the announcer called the human name like a joke. Jonah Vale, survivor of the Red Wake, invited champion of humanity. The crowd waited for the small primate in the plain black fleet coat to step onto the sand. Jonah looked at the jeweled sword offered to him, then at the cheering nobles and said, "No." That was when the laughing began. To the old empire's refusal was weakness. To Princess Kyalira of Valora, watching from the royal balcony in silver battle silk and a crown of blue fire. It was something stranger. She had seen fighters beg for applause, killers bow for payment, princes bleed for pride. But this human rejected the only honor their galaxy respected. Kyalira watched Jonah stand beneath a storm of insults. Calm as a sealed airlock, the answer was simple. Jonah had seen real war, and real war did not sparkle. The tournament had been created to keep the coalition from tearing itself apart. Kyalira believed spectacle could replace slaughter. Jonah knew spectacle only taught fools to admire it. Earth had sent him as a courtesy. His orders allowed him to fight. His conscience did not. So he refused the blade, refused the glory. Refused even when Champion Kraz hissed that humans had no courage without machines. Then the lights went out for one heartbeat. The dome swallowed its glow for the next. The royal balcony exploded inward. Guards flew. Nobles screamed. And black-armored figures dropped from folded space around Princess Kyalira. They used weapons designed to disable, not kill. These were not raiders. They were professionals. The princess drew a blue plasma blade and cut down 3 before dark energy wrapped her arms. She looked toward the arena, furious, not afraid, then vanished through a rupture in the air. Suddenly, every champion who had called Jonah a coward was shouting at shadows. Chaos swallowed the arena. Valoran generals demanded war, fleets armed in orbit. Jonah vaulted the rail and landed beside a dead kidnapper. He tore a data spike from the corpse's gauntlet, smelled ionized cesium and fungal coolant, and saw false Narune markings painted too cleanly to be real. Kraz blocked him, roaring that rescue belonged to true warriors. Jonah looked at him and said, "You wanted to see humanity fight. Follow me and try not to slow me down." No one laughed the second time. Jonah ordered the human corvette Mercy Knife to scan for wake turbulence, then turned champions into tools, Kraz for force. To Valoran guards for palace codes, he did not ask permission. He spoke with the voice soldiers obey when dying becomes a scheduling problem. The trail led beneath the arena into tunnels older than the coalition. Where a gate waited, the alien champions expected a glorious chase. Jonah expected logistics. Abductors needed air, power, timing, and escape vectors. He found ration seals, coolant drips, and one strand of Valoran royal hair tied around a pipe. Kyalira had not been dragged helplessly. She had fought, marked the path, slowed them down. She was not waiting to be rescued. She was helping. That was when they understood. Humans did not hunt like predators. Humans hunted like weather. The gate opened into a derelict shipyard hidden in a gas giant's storm band. There Jonah saw the truth. House Marok's warships waited in the clouds, a noble faction hungry for the Valoran throne. Murder Kyalira aboard a false Narrowan vessel. Broadcast the scene, ignite a coalition war, then inherit an empire too wounded to question them. The champions froze, trained for duels, not treason. Jonah tapped his cum and said 3 words, Black Rain Protocol. Human ships did not roar into battle. They fell silent. Tiny drones slipped from the Mercy Knife like seeds from a dead flower. They latched onto sensors. Vents, airlocks, engine seams, ammunition feeds. No anthem, no challenge, no warning. By the time Jonah led the assault through a maintenance intake barely wider than his shoulders, the enemy was already half defeated in the central hangar. Princess Caliera stood chained before a recording altar, bruised but upright. Lord Merox held a blade to her throat and declared the Narrowan guilty. Vengeance, sacred, history, ready to burn. Then every light in the shipyard turned human red. The broadcast caught all of it. Jonah dropped from the ceiling, broke Merox's wrist, caught the falling blade, and drove his shoulder into 3 guards before they understood the small primate was not supposed to hit like a breech cannon. Kraz smashed the left line. The guards freed their princess. The Oracle blinded targeting systems, and Jonah fought with horrible economy. No flourish, no wasted motion. Every move ended something. A knee, a weapon, a breath, a plan. Merox crawled toward the transmitter. Screaming that humans had no honor, Jonah let Kylera answer. She lifted the broken noble toward the live feed and said, "Honor is not a performance. It is what remains when no one is applauding." When the Merox ships tried to flee, their engines were locked, weapons flooded, air systems filled with sleeping gas. Black rain had ended the battle before the first heroic charge. The Coalition fleet stood down. The Narrowan transmitted proof of innocence. And the tournament became a crime scene instead of a festival. Jonah walked away before cheering began because cheering still sounded too much like drums. Kylera found him and asked why he had refused after proving he could have one. Jonah said he had proven only that he could survive uglier places than arenas. She placed her champion sash over his coat. He tried to refuse, but she shook her head. "This is not for victory," she said. "This is for restraint." The next year, the tournament changed. No more stage duels for noble pride. It became a rescue trial. A disaster response challenge, a test of protection. Endurance, strategy, and mercy. The first statue showed no warrior raising a blade. It showed a human refusing one. Beside him stood a princess unchained, not rescued like treasure, but fighting her way home and among the stars. A new saying spread quietly: do not mistake a human's refusal for fear. Sometimes the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy is the one who knows exactly when not to fight.